Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I am Anahal Jawali and get ready to meet the Indiana Jones of education. Jessica has spent 18 years teaching across the globe, designing curriculums and blending tech with learning in ways that would make Aaron Man jealous. From the US to Italy, she's been a game changer in every classroom she's touched. Today, we are diving into her incredible journey and the wisdom she's gathered along the way. So, buckle up, it's going to be wild ride. So, welcome to the show, ma'am Jessica Marsh.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Anna Hill, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's also my pleasure to talk with you. So, how are you today?
All good. Yeah, lovely Monday, actually. I don't often say that, but each day is a special one. How about you?
I'm doing great. So, before moving on questions, could you please introduce yourself for my viewers?
Of course. Yeah, I'm Jess. Jess Tyerman Marsh is my full name. And I've, as you said, been in education for more than 18 years in various roles um, around the world and in different sectors. And our company that we founded, I'm sure I'll be telling you more about, but it's related to world schooling. And we have a world schooling quest community with more than 700 members at the moment across 71 countries. So we're trying to take global action while thinking locally as well.
All right, thank you so much for your fantastic introduction. So now let's move on to questions. So my first question is on your screen. Your journey in education spans 18 years and multiple countries. So how has teaching in diverse cultural environment shaped your approach to education?
Yeah, it's been amazing, of course, to have the experiences in different places and uh, truly immersion works for learning languages. I will say that. But if you are looking to live and learn in other countries, I was working in international schools, so I kind of had a hybrid experience of still having some association with Americanized systems. I'm from the U.S. originally, and I'm a native English speaker, so that is a great help. But also realized how important it is to learn other languages and grow my own knowledge while also seeing around the world how the cultures are very different, like in Italy and Germany, for example. But the needs are similar. The students everywhere have similar kinds of passions and interests, and really those 21st century skills and the importance of them came out across the board as the important things that students care about.
All right, thank you so much for sharing fantastic example, and thank you so much for your answer. So, what inspired you to transition from traditional classroom setting to founding a social enterprise? What was the pivotal moment that drove the change?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Um, I I had my own classroom in California. That's where I'm from, and got involved in the international school world. Came over to Europe. I've been in Europe, I think, 13 years now. So I kind of saw the different types of schools: international schools, charter schools, public schools, private schools, and then got into the ed tech sector, so education technology, where this was always something important to me. It's what I got a master's in many years ago, before it was really even a common thing. But yeah, bringing technology into learning and helping it facilitate learning has always been important to me. And so working with teachers, I realized I have more of an impact when I work with teachers and train groups of teachers than just doing it in my own classroom. Although I very much missed working directly with students, and got into that, and then got connected with the Google for Education world. Did work for them and worked for a couple of years at Google, which is also very very interesting, eye opening. To have a corporate experience after just working in school settings, very different. And I've learned loads. But in doing that, I also realized I didn't want to be just a cog in this massive machine. I want like to make true social impact, and so that's why we, together with my husband, my co-founder, James, we work together to develop, what do we want for our child? Leo is 6 at the moment, and we want to have him have the best education possible. And we believe doing that through learning about the world, through the world, that real world experience in all senses is the way to go. So we've transitioned our whole way of life really to make this happen.
All right, that's really amazing, and you are working with your husband is also amazing. Thank you so much for your amazing answer. So, um, now let's move on to discussion. As someone who's worked closely with technology and education, how do you see the role of AI evolving in classroom over the next decade?
Mm. I I mean, no one knows this, of course, because of the rapid changes happening, and I would like to see a huge change in assessment. I'm already thinking and hearing about parents that are stressed out and students that are stressed out about taking their exit exams, whether that's GCSEs or GEDs in the States or high school equivalents, whatever it is. And we've already seen a bit of a push to change some assessments because the traditional writing an essay with AI, doesn't really cut it. So I'm hoping that there will be less assessment in general, and that AI will has transformed what assessment looks like, and maybe takes learners down a personalized path of, what is your interest, your voila, as you have, right? Of how you want to make that happen. And as I believe Rayhan has said this, make that end goal and then kind of do that backwards planning to that. Why can't our assessment be kind of a big project based thing like that can be supported with AI along the way?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for your answer. So, can you share a specific example where integrating technology into the classroom had a transformative impact on students or teachers?
Yeah, there's lots of examples, um, and case studies and things. I've seen really amazing work from like the Leo Academy Trust here in the UK, where I live now. Um, They are a lovely trust of schools, so a group of schools that are using all kinds of innovative technology with young learners as starting at 3. They have them using devices. The teachers are well trained. They're not scared of that. And I visited this one of their schools and saw, this is how learning should be. It's a tool that's there to help assist in lessons. So that kind of as a general approach is amazing. And more of a personal uh, idea that I remember when I was in my first year of teaching. I had a fourth grade classroom, so about 10-year-olds in California. And this was many years ago. It tells you how old I am. But we made our own class newspaper and shared it with the whole school. And this was a big deal to have kind of, an actual website. I think it was a Weebly that we used way back then, and just saw how the students started taking on all of the roles, all of the responsibilities, and divvying them out and based on their own uh, personal interests and abilities. Who was good at what and who wanted to write what and do what part. And so it was really lovely to see those kind of projects that take flight and end up being something really cool.
Yes, you're right. Thank you so much for explaining a wonderful answer. So, my next question is for you. Having conducted professional development in countries like the US, Italy, Germany, and the UK, what are some universal challenges teachers face regardless of location?
Sure. I think teachers everywhere would agree with lack of time, lack of resources often. Also, just the workload, the constant need or the feeling of the need to get through the curriculum. And often that then creates problems with well being, and which is another area I'm really passionate about, that social emotional uh, well well-being, and both for the teachers and students or anyone in education. Yeah, so I think those are the ones that come to top of mind.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. So, how do you adapt your educational strategies to cater to the unique needs of students from different cultural backgrounds?
Yeah, I think there's lots of tools and forums or that we can use now, especially digital tools to assist with that, whether it's a translation need or accessibility needs. There's so many amazing things out there. uh, I think what we're trying to do is use the Renzulli platform, which is created based on a few things, but based on for gifted and talented students and their needs, and connecting with others globally around these projects that are of interest. Um, and so there's a survey that's involved, so it profiles the students to say, hey, what are you interested in, and it kind of ranks what they like the most, and then gives them activities and projects and suggestions to do. And we're trying to take that to the next level of making that collaborative, because we know collaboration is also super important in those 21st century skills.
Yes, you are 100% right, and that's really amazing. Thank you so much for your answer, and thank you so much for whatever you are doing for our like whatever you do. That's amazing.
Yeah, we definitely would love to have the Rayhan students get involved too. I'm talking to him about that.
Sure. So, you will design curriculum and even a SaaS product. Sorry. What was the challenging part of this process, and how did you overcome it?
Mm. Uh, they're definitely different things, but the curriculum designing is one thing, and um, I'd say now I don't think yeah I think we'll talk more about that, but in a minute. But the SaaS product, and what a lot of people in the ed tech space are doing, are developing these products. And often, I'd say the number one problem I see is not talking to the users enough, which is probably something that we didn't do as well either up front, like get that user feedback really early. And for me, it was personally a challenge because I was working with really advanced developers and trying to find a common language for us to speak when I didn't know coding very well. So even, I kind of learned the basics that I needed, and I had a very patient developer working with me to do that to help me. But there's just that was not in my skill set. So, while I could develop the content to go into the product, that coding piece remained beyond me. So I would love to learn that more, to dig in and tackle that. But it was great to be able to collaborate and, again, play to each other's strengths.
That's good. So, in your opinion, what makes a curriculum truly effective in preparing students for the future, especially in this fast evolving digital age?
Mm. Yeah, this is what I was yeah, but I knew that we would talk about curriculum, and I think if there is any set aspect to the curriculum, you have these ones that are hundreds of pages and they're PDFs and they're set, and if that is the curriculum, then it is not meeting the needs. It's not doing the job, because it should be flexible, it should be fluid, it should be changing with the ever-changing, evolving times that, we're in today. So that's kind of my um, short answer. Of course, I can elaborate if you want.
Yes, that's short answer, but that's good. Thank you so much for your answer. So, you emphasize the importance of literacy skills for lifelong learning. How do you define literacy in today's world, beyond just reading and writing?
Thank you. Yeah, I do believe in literacy of all types, whether that's media literacy or AI literacy or social emotional literacy, and that kind of awareness. So the EQ aspect, if you know what I mean, not IQ, but EQ, and with that, and also kind of related to the last question too, there are the soft skills, or quote unquote soft skills. Again, those kind of 21st century skills: collaboration, cooperation, communication that companies are actually looking for today. And that I'm preaching to you I know here because you know this from what Rehan is teaching, that the work world is looking for these things to be there as you come into them, and it's not happening with many of the graduates and things, people that are finishing traditional school and they don't have those skills. And so yeah, the teaching that kind of literacy of all types in all different areas, and to not just have literacy in those subject areas, but to actually literacy in reading humans and having human connection and human emotions, being in sync with that.
All right, thank you so much for defining. Fantastic defining. So, what is a book or piece of literature that has profoundly influenced your philosophy on education?
Oh, this is like when you ask to pick a favorite child or this favorite books. They're so hard for me. I was a librarian. That was one of my roles in schools. So I it's really hard to pick favorite books, but I would have to say my general philosophy and most of the teachings and books of Dr. Sandra Kaplan would be definitely foundational to me. She's an inspiration. She's still teaching teachers in her many. She could have retired many years ago, I'll say, but she's still active and doing amazing things for young people around the world. And she has this specialty in gifted education, where my background and or that developed my background when I worked with her on a grant in California at the University of Southern California, where I went to university. And then, yeah, she's continued to inspire me. I talked to her actually recently. She still shares resources, sends me books and things to read, including some of her amazing ones that have recently been published.
Thank you so much for your answer. That was so difficult to you for answer me that what is your favorite book. So thank you so much for your answer. So now let's move on to next question. My next question is for you. How do you envision as the future of social enterprises in the education sector? How can they contribute to global educational equity?
Yeah, I have seen this as a, I think, growing sector, and there's so many amazing people wanting to have positive impact, and collaborate, and there's more and more entities that are trying to help connect those dots. Like we're our CIC, which is a community interest company here in the UK, kind of like a nonprofit. So working with other NGOs and things around the world, through Catalyst 2030. If you haven't heard of it, it's a lovely organization that is trying to help channel and, yeah, combine all of those kind of energy and resources to solve the global goals, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So there's loads being done. For SDG 4 is the one related to education, but I think they all can relate to education because you can learn about, how to help the life underwater, or you can learn about partnerships. You can learn about how to help with poverty, all those different things that are a part of the goals. So I'm hoping that others also see that benefit. We're also working with 1% for the Planet, which is where corporations can donate some of their profit to organizations like ours to help make that happen. So seeing those kinds of institutions, organizations, corporations, kind of all working together in a lovely ecosystem, I hope it continues to go that way.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. So, if you had the opportunity to lead a global initiative for education reform, that would be your first priority.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's kind of what we're doing, or we're trying to do in a way, to scrap out the traditional school system is just not fit for purpose anymore, sadly, even though I've seen it in deeply from all different aspects and in different countries. It's not it's not working. It's actually starting to hurt children, students, young people, it's detrimental in what some of these schools are doing. And I'm saying that, in of course not every school in the world or every classroom is failing, but but the overall system is failing students. So what we're trying to do with our World Schooling Quest community is make that mindset and lifestyle more commonplace and easier for people to grasp and understand, that you can actually utilize your context and use the world as your classroom and use it to, be curious, see what your local resources are, help make a difference in your community, get involved in projects, actual hands-on things, actually doing something that ideally makes measurable positive impact, as our one of our advisors, Mark Prensky, says. But the idea of finding your tribe, through doing those things and developing yourself, developing your friendships and your whole person through something that you actually care about, not something that is a prescribed curriculum. Like the remote work or remote jobs for you perhaps mean your thing that you are doing to because you're interested in it, and that's a perfect example.
Yes, thank you so much for your answer. So, if you have any question for me, you can ask me.
Yeah, I'd love to know what your ideal remote job would be. Besides, is this it? Is it the interviews, or is it something beyond that?
Remote job is not the interview. I'm taking interviews to connect with people all around the world and learn from them. Taking interviews is my school subject, and remote work is like my idea is everyone get remote job because everyone is finding remote jobs, and they did not get because they don't know the perfect idea or something they are not doing with consistency. So my idea is to teach people how they can get remote jobs, and after that when I teach them they can also teach others.
Oh, lovely. So similar, yeah. Teach the teacher, train the trainer. We say that's awesome. I love it. And you'll have to tell me also about your um, desire to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. Is that related to this work or something else?
uh, it, Guinness Book World Record is something else. I will make record in something another field.
Okay, very cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Lovely. And are we? Yeah. Is that all of our
People
questions? Oh,
are you
sorry,
asking something?
you frozen. Sorry, I didn't know that we were at
Oh,
our.
sorry. So what you was asking?
Oh, just it. Yeah. If you have any other questions for me, otherwise, yeah, it's been really lovely to be here. Thank you again.
Yeah, it's also lovely to be here with you. And if you have any more questions about my school or our curriculum, how we learn AI or something more.
Yeah, I'd love to know actually, at the school, are you working collaboratively in ways as well, in groups of any sort?
Like in school?
Yeah, in school or on these projects, like, or, the interviews that you're doing right now, obviously, are kind of a one-to-one. Do you ever collaborate with others to to do these kinds of projects in school?
We collaborate with peoples for learning and make connections from all over the world. Like we don't want to collaborate, I think, but I'm taking interviews because I love to take interviews, and this is my school curriculum also. And now it's my favorite subject to talk with peoples and learn from their culture and learn from them.
Well, you're very good at it. That's lovely. And yeah, what is there something that you do in person in the school of more of like hands-on projects and things? Or do you use technology mostly?
As you know that my school is AI based school, so we do everything on our laptops. But we do projects like we plant a tree every day. Every student plant a tree, and what we do also. Nothing,
Thank
but
you.
we do everything on our laptops and our mobiles, and everything we do on social media. Like my school assembly also on live on social media, and if we guests come our school, so if they speak, like if they say something for us, so that way that uh, that we live everything on social media.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. Thank you for giving me that overview and image of what your school's like. It's lovely. I
Am I audible?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay. But do you have any more questions?
I don't think so. I think, unless there's anything you'd love to share with me, I'm always curious and happy to chat and learn more about lovely people. And like you said, make those connections around the world. It really means a lot. And it means a lot that you reached out and wanted to interview me. So thank you again for this lovely opportunity.
Thank you so much for asking me wonderful questions, and thank you for asking me, giving me your precious time. So let's wrap our interview. So I would like to ask you, if you could give one piece of advice to new educators entering the field, what would it be?
Yeah, I think I'd say have an open mind and, open to whatever that may be, open to the technology piece, open to being a learner yourself and more of a facilitator. I think I've always believed in that kind of Dewey's way of being a facilitator, not being the teacher or the sage on a stage in the front of the classroom, but letting the students take the lead because I've always learned much more from my students than they've learned from me.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. That's an incredible journey we just explored with Ma'am Jessica, from transforming classroom around the world to pioneering new ways of learning. She's shown us that education truly has no boundaries. We will laugh, we will learn, and most importantly, we will being inspired. So, thank you, Ma'am Jessica, for taking us on this amazing adventure. So, until next time, let's keep pushing the limits of what's possible in education. Thank you. Bye. Have a wonderful day ahead.